Hey, true believers, this is Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave, and today I'm going to bring you hot character Adam Warlock and the key issues to collect around that character. So, Adam Warlock is one of the most complicated first appearances to collect, if probably not the most complicated first appearance to collect. He has first appearances in Fantastic Four, in Thor, in Marvel Premiere, in his own issues, in several series that go on. So, we're going to take a look at those key books. So, let's start at the beginning. From 1967, the Jack Kirby Stan Lee classic, Fantastic Four number 66. So him, as he's referred to in these books at first, doesn't actually appear in this book, but it sets up the whole premise behind his first appearance. So this young lady, Alicia Masters, she ends up being kidnapped by a group of 4 individuals, and they are trying to trick her into finding Adam Warlock, saying that they want to help him. But in reality, they have very different motivations for what they're doing. They invented Adam Warlock, and they've lost him, but they want to find him in order to use his power to take over the planet and become the tyrants, the supreme leaders using Adam Warlock's powers. Now, Alicia starts to become in contact psychically with Adam Warlock. In this book, the only piece of Adam Warlock that you see, they do talk about him, so they do mention him, as well as you see a panel with his arm in it. So not a first appearance. Don't worry, if you invested your money in 67, you still have his first appearance there. So yes, it leads into Fantastic Four number 67, again from 1967. And in this book, we catch up with Alicia, and she is in another dimension trying to find Adam Warlock for these 4 individuals. They reveal to him, or to her, that they actually have, devious plans around Adam Warlock, and they were trying to capture him in order to steal his power and take over the Earth. Now, Adam Warlock, he's attuned to everybody psychically, and he can psychically read that these guys are bad, and they're trying to cause him harm. But not Alicia. He knows that she's good, and so he's calling her closer, saying, "Don't worry, I won't harm you. I feel your goodness." And he wants to kill the other guys because he feels their badness. So he's not at his full power right now. He's just sort of emerging from getting ready to emerge from the cocoon when Alicia finds him. So they go through all this stuff. The bad guys catch up with them. Adam Warlock starts to emerge and destroys or stops the bad guys from harming Alicia. The Fantastic Four show up. Mr. Fantastic creates a machine that can travel different dimensions. It finds her. They all transport back to Earth. Adam, leaves the planet, and in doing so, the energy that he uses to leave the planet destroys and kills the 4 individuals that were created him to try and take over the Earth. Very open-ended ending for this book, and very much did that on purpose. Jack Kirby very much did that on purpose. By the time that this book came out, Jack Kirby had been involved in comics for about 25 years. And his role as a comic creator and artist, he saw it changing. He now was kind of put more into a mentorship role, right, with the upcoming new artists and helping those people out on how to get proper comic books published in panels and, mentoring. And one of the things that he liked to do was to invent a character and then leave their backstory very, very open in hopes that another artist or comic creator would pick up that character and do something with them. And that's what he did here with him, right? He left this godlike power. It's very vague on, where he came from, what's going on with him, and the end story is very, very open as he just basically goes off into space and floats around. Unfortunately, that never happened. Nobody picked up on Adam Warlock as a character, and this kind of disappointed Jack Kirby. So he decided to do another set of books with with Adam Warlock in it. And the next time we see Adam Warlock is a few years later in 1969 with The Mighty Thor number 165. So this is often considered the first full appearance of him. Right, so this is the first time we do see him in the Fantastic Four 67, but it's very brief, and I would consider it a cameo. And this is his first full appearance of where we see the character him. Right? He's still not Adam Warlock at this time. He's still only referred to as him. So while he's floating around in space, he accidentally gets caught in a trap and knocked unconscious. A spaceship shows up and the Watcher's on board. And the Watcher's like, oh man, I caught a living being in my trap. This is against the Watcher's rules. I'm not supposed to interfere. I had set this trap to catch meteors to study. Right? It didn't mean to catch a living being. I got to make this right. He transports Adam Warlock into an Earth spaceship and sends Adam back to Earth. When he gets the spaceship crashes, of course, and the military recover it. Just so happens that Thor, Sif, and Baldar are being honored by the military. They have a big parade going on and a celebration over, all the help that they've been giving to the military. Something's going on with the spaceship. Thor, Sif, and Baldar, of course, go to investigate, and they run into him, Adam Warlock. Him says, I'm not evil, I'm not good, I don't know what you guys are, I don't feel like an evil presence like the other people that I had destroyed, I feel you're more good, however, I don't know what I am, I just know I'm lonely, and I find Sif attractive, and so I want to be with her, and he steals Sif. And of course, Sif is at this time Thor's girlfriend, and Thor is like, no way. And, Adam Warlock teleports away with Sif. Baldar and Thor give chase, of course. There's a few fighting in there. And again, Adam Warlock kind of escapes with Sif. Baldar and Thor track them down. They're being distracted by another character in here. And so they take off. Still pursuing Sif, of course. Thor is in love with Sif, and this is the first time we see sort of a cameo appearance as well of Thor in his Viking berserker rage. So, Thor catches up with Adam Warlock here in Thor number 166. Loses it, right? Because ends up fighting Adam Warlock, who's an incredibly powerful character, and goes into his Viking berserker mode. And only when he does this does Adam Warlock realize, I can't beat this guy, I'm going to lose, gives back Sif, and zips himself up in a cocoon. Thor trying to stop this, of course, he can't, and Adam Warlock floats off in space again in the cocoon. Very open-ended. Before Thor can take chase, Odin pops in there. He has observed Thor going into the berserker rage. This is, of course, against the Asgardian rules, and now Thor must be punished for going into the berserker rage. So Odin says, you must go and find Galactus and find out what his purpose and his origin is, right? And sends Thor off on a different quest away from Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock in the cocoon is now randomly floating out in space. Again, Jack left this very much open on purpose, hoping again that another writer would be interested in the character and decide to do some stories with them. So left it very open, just so that another writer has an easy in to pick up the story where it left off. Didn't happen again for a while. Okay, so this book came out in 1969. The next time we see Adam Warlock is here in Marvel Premiere number 1 in 1972. So about 3 years later. And finally, just like Jack was hoping, a different artist-writer team picked up on Adam Warlock. And that is the team of Jill Kane and Roy Thomas. So Roy Thomas, he came up with the idea of giving the character a name, giving him this costume, right, which was kind of an homage to the DC Captain Marvel Shazam. They didn't want it, they couldn't exactly copy his costume, but they did do like the yellow lightning bolt and kind of came close as an homage, not as a copy, right? And they wrote this story here, and the High Evolutionary finds the cocoon floating out in space and begins to communicate with Adam Warlock through the computer without opening the cocoon. However, the High Evolutionary is at one point attacked by a man-beast, and he has created a planet called Counter Earth. And the man-beast, while attacking him, and Adam Warlock is observing this and not sure if the High Evolutionary, who is now befriended, will prevail. zips out of his cocoon and goes to assist the High Evolutionary. Being outnumbered, a group of the man-beasts take off to counter Earth, which is the Earth that the High Evolutionary has just created. It's an exact copy of Earth, except without all the evil, in order for human beings to evolve past what we have, right? Without evil behind it, the High Evolutionary theorizes that human beings could be very much a godlike race of beings soon. Now the High Evolutionary is upset because the man-beasts have gone there with evil intentions and have tainted Counter-Earth. Adam Warlock says, don't destroy all these people. I'll go down there and I'll stop the man-beasts. High Evolutionary agrees to this. He gives him the name Warlock and also gives him the green soul gem. That's the soul gem or soul stone, as they call them in the movies, right? So that's how Adam Warlock gets the gem in the center of his forehead, and it's the first Infinity Stone, Infinity Gem that we see here in this book. So key in that it's the first time we see the character in a few years. It's a #1 issue Marvel premiere. It's the first time he gets a name. It's the first time he has a costume. And now it seems the first time that he has a purpose. Okay. So that story continues on for 2 issues of Marvel premiere. I wouldn't consider #2 any kind of real key book to have. They do for the first time call him Adam in that book, but that's pretty minor kind of key thing. So the next key I think would be Power of the Warlock #1. This is from 1972 as well. It is again Jill Kane and Roy Thomas picking up the story from Marvel Premiere #2 here in this book. So this is a key book, and it is the first time the character has his very own title to himself, right? So in these books here, in the Marvel Premiere series, these books continued on. Marvel Premiere continued on as its own series with Doctor Strange, with Iron Fist, with several other characters. But this is the character's very first book of his own. So, a good key to have. This story in here, I gotta say, it's not my favorite. It really, it takes Adam Warlock along in the story, and it's not poorly written. Roy Thomas only wrote this one and #2. So what was happening at the time between Marvel Premiere #2 and Power of the Warlock #1, Stan Lee left Marvel Comics, right? He left as editor-in-chief. Now Roy Thomas got the job. Now Roy Thomas was the writer here on these books and could no longer fulfill the writing duties as well as all the editor-in-chief duties that he needed to do. And so they picked up, and here at #3, we got a new writer with Michael. Oh, let me take a look at my notes here. Michael Fedrich. That's right. So he is a very good writer. He is an experienced writer with Marvel Comics. He did a lot of stuff with Jim Starlin later, including writing Iron Man 55 with Jim Starlin. So it's not bad. It's still a good written storyline, continuing here with #3, but it's just that still was missing something, right? So the series never really took off, and it was basically canceled after 8 issues. Okay, so it's an easy, full kind of run to catch with the first 8 issues of the book. So after issue 8, canceled. Okay. Now, the thing that was really, really missing, in my opinion, that I keep talking about with Adam Warlock, is the cosmic. The Warlock series, these books here, they weren't poorly written, but they were very much earthbound. He is, on Earth. He's fighting in subways. He's tracking, Earth people. He's hanging out with teenagers, all this kind of stuff. He's very much bound to Earth, which really doesn't open up the character. It's really underutilizing the character of Adam Warlock when he's not Spider-Man. He's not supposed to be Spider-Man where he's fighting in the friendly neighborhood, right? So it wasn't until Jim Starlin really grabbed onto it. And that really happened here in Strange Tales number 178. The first issue that we see Jim Starlin writing for Adam Warlock. And Adam Warlock takes off in a much bigger cosmic direction. And, some could even say that what was really missing from Adam Warlock was Jim Starlin. Because Jim Starlin took the character Adam Warlock and loved him. He wrote many, many years worth of stories surrounding Adam Warlock. You can tell Jim Starlin had a real love for this character. So this is the first time Jim is writing for Adam Warlock here in number 178. And this issue just blows my mind, to tell you the truth. Here is the first appearance of the Magus. So Adam Warlock kind of wakes up and he gets attacked by these beings that are part of what's called the Cult of Truth, right? Which is the cult of Magus. And they are fighting him, trying to stop him. And he's like, how can I let such an evil cult exist? I can't do this. I'm going to go and stop this evil cult. I'm going to defeat it and stop it. As he does this, a big giant head appears in front of him, which is the image of the Magus, right? And the Magus starts talking to him, and he's like, don't bother, Adam Warlock. You can't stop me. And the reason you can't stop me is because I am you. Mind blowing, right? So that's fantastic writing. This whole story really starts to define Adam Warlock as a cosmic character and Jim Starlin as a absolutely fantastic writer. So this one is the North American version, as well as I have the British variant with the 8p there. There's no real difference in the price point for these two. They both came out at the same time. They're both, considered the same first appearance. So then we move along onto 179, which is again part of the Magus Saga, right? So that's what we started here in 178, was the beginning of the Magus Saga. And that continues on here in Strange Tales number 179. This also has the bonus of being the first appearance of Pip the Troll. Pip the Troll is a character that will become part of the Infinity Watch, and he hangs out with Adam Warlock quite a bit. I know he's not in the MCU. They decided not to put him in, but he has been in and around Adam Warlock for most of Adam Warlock's character life. Again, this came out in 1975, and one of the really cool things that I think about this and that Jim Starlin did, if you look here on the cover, that doesn't say Comic Code Authority. I don't know if you can read that close. Hang on, let's see if I get it to focus. Anyways, that little doesn't say Comic Code Authority. It says Cosmic Code Authority. So that's kind of cool little blurb that you can figure out about Strange Tales number 179, Cosmic Code Authority. Thanks, Jim. Again, another key book that I would consider, mainly Adam Warlock, because it is such a big part of the Magus Saga, as well as the first appearance of Gamora. And that is Strange Tales number 180. So that is also from 1975. And here is the first time that Gamora is named, as well as being called the most dangerous woman in the universe. So as well as another part of the Magus Saga. And it is the first time that Adam Warlock and the Magus meet face to face here in number 181. Now this is the point of the book where things take a little bit of a weird publishing jump. Right, the story continues on just fine, Jim Starlin's story, but it jumps from Strange Tales back into Warlock, right? And we pick it up with Warlock number 9, right? So that's Warlock number 9. So this book got canceled. Warlock got canceled in 1975 with number 8. Sorry, 1974 with number 8. They re-pick up the story almost a little over a year later here in number 9, after going through all of our Strange Tales issues. that story, Strange Tales number 181, is picked up here in Warlock number 9. Okay, so this is again a big part of the Magus story. Excuse me. It's the first time that there's sort of a person that has been guiding Gamora. It's the first time that it's revealed that that's Thanos, and that Gamora Thanos connection is made. That, you know, the whole daughter thing there, and it's the first time that Adam Warlock and Thanos meet here in number 9. So remember, we're going from Strange Tales 181 here to Warlock number 9. Warlock number 10. Okay, so this is the origin of Gamora in here, as well as the first mention of the In-Betweener, or the first cameo of the In-Betweener. It's also... No, that's right. And there's like a big fight, Thanos versus the Magus and all that kind of stuff in here. But it's a big, important book in the entire story behind the Magus Saga. So yeah, Warlock number 10, definitely one to pick up. And number 11, the Magus story continues and actually ends. Sorry, the Magus story continues and ends here. So this is the death of the Magus. And this would be the last key book in the Warlock series, except for number 15. I would consider number 15 as well to be one. That one came out in 1976. And it's the last book in this series. And it also kind of sets up stuff that's going to happen here in the future with the Infinity Gauntlet stuff. Okay. So, continuing from this book, the series, like I said, does continue on for a few more issues to number 15. And then I think, instead of canceling it, Jim Starlin wrote this book. This is Avengers Annual number 7. And in this book, we see the death of Pip the Troll, Gamora, and Adam Warlock. Death, not really death, because they actually are trapped inside the Soul Gem. And so they've kind of in a living death kind of thing, in a suspended animation. I think Jim Starlin took a good lesson there from Jack Kirby, like I said, leaving a character open-ended so that he could bring him back later if he wanted to. And I know he really, really loved Adam Warlock, right? So they get trapped in the Soul Gem, and then it leads into Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 2, which I don't have, but I will be buying, which shows the death of Thanos, right? Where Adam Warlock is able to reach out from the Soul Gem and turn Thanos into stone, and then is completely trapped inside the Soul Gem. And we don't see Adam Warlock, and we don't see Thanos again after 1977, which is when this book came out, until 1990. Where the first time we see Thanos again is Silver Surfer number 34, and in 1992, the first time we see Adam Warlock again is here in the Silver Surfer number 46. So this is the first time that we have seen Adam Warlock reappear in 14 years. Okay, again, Jim Starlin and Roy Lim is doing the arts, doing the art and pencils for this. He brings back Adam Warlock, Gamora, and Pip the Troll here. Good, because this book really, if it didn't happen for this book, the Infinity Gauntlet storyline is not going to set up. Okay, so the first time we saw all 6 of the Infinity Gems is here in Avengers number 7. That is the first appearance of all the Infinity Gems. This is the first time we see Adam Warlock make that comeback, and only a couple issues ago did we learn about the Infinity Gauntlet, right? So Adam Warlock comes back. He's going to stop Thanos from acquiring the Infinity Gauntlet. Leads into the entire story that we know now about the Infinity Gauntlet, about the snap. I wouldn't consider the Infinity Gauntlet an Adam Warlock key. That's just a Marvel Comics key in general. However, the aftermath of it, I would consider this one to be a minor key, which is Warlock in the Infinity Watch number 1, aftermath of the Infinity Gauntlet. So what happens once they've gotten the Infinity Gauntlet back? Adam Warlock has full possession of it. A bunch of really big cosmic entities, Eternity, the Living Tribunal, they all get together and they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No way can we have one person with the Infinity Gauntlet. It's too much power. And they have a trial and they order Adam Warlock to split the Infinity Gauntlet up and give gems to all these different individuals so that no one person would have that much power. And of course he gives those things he keeps the soul gem for himself. Gamora gets the time stone. Pip gets the space stone. Drax gets the power stone. And Moondragon gets the mind stone. And unbeknownst to everybody, Adam Warlock actually gives Thanos the reality stone, knowing that Thanos can't really use the reality stone without the rest of the gems, because the reality stone can cause a lot of adverse effects without the tempering of the other gems. So Thanos would be too afraid to use it. He also doesn't want to have all the gems in one place with one group of people, and he figures giving it to his enemy Thanos, there's no way that anybody can make a big connection and put together the Infinity Gauntlet again. How wrong you are. However, Jim Starlin again writing this book. That book leads into this book, which is the Infinity War. It is, that book has a series, and that series leads into this book, which is the Infinity War. It's from 1992. Again, Ron Lim cover. And I took a backing board out of here just so I could show you. It's a wraparound cover, right? So you got that really kind of cool wraparound cover there. And there were 6 issues of the Infinity War. And I would consider that a key, as like he basically leads the charge on the Infinity War. And then this book as well came out. I believe this was also 1992, which is the Warlock Chronicles, and it talks about what was going on with Adam Warlock while he was trapped inside the Soul Gem. It also has one of those shiny covers, right? Ooh, mirror cover. So a minor key, and good to collect. It is an interesting story. I do like the story that Jim Starlin wrote about what was going on with Adam inside the gem while everything was going on. Anyway, so those are the books I'm going to recommend as putting together an Adam Warlock collection. I think he's a hot character. I think it's just a short matter of time before Adam Warlock shows up in the MCU. I think these books will, maybe not some of the later ones, but definitely the earlier ones are going to see an even bigger price spike than they already have. Once we see that first confirmation that Adam Warlock as a full character is in a movie, a lot of people are going to be looking for these books again, right? So those 2 Fantastic Four issues, those 2 first Thor issues, Marvel Premiere #1, Adam Warlock #1, and probably Warlock #9 would be your big keys to grab up, right? Avengers Annual #7, Marvel 2-in-1 Annual #2 as well, because that's the whole death of Adam Warlock. Get those books, because we'll probably see a big price spike once Adam Warlock does actually show up in the MCU. Kevin Feige was just talking about the fact that Marvel Studios wants to start putting out 5 comic books movies every year at minimum, all the way through 2030. That's their plan. With that many movies planned, even if you're looking at, Doctor Strange #3, or Guardians of the Galaxy #3, Doctor Strange #2, Black Panther #2, those kind of movies, there is still many spots full of characters that they're going to fill up, and Adam Warlock is a very prolific character of Jim Starlin. Jim Starlin, of course, wrote the whole Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, that they're basing all these movies around. Big movie producers, they see Jim Starlin's name, they see dollar signs, right? The movies that guy, or the stories that are based on that guy's writing, the movies that came out have made billions and billions and billions of dollars. They are looking at every single thing that he's done. And if he really liked and loved Adam Warlock, I'm sure they are going to put him in there. James Gunn wants to. There's that whole controversy with James Gunn and Guardians of the Galaxy #3. They still want to use the script that he wrote, which includes Adam the Warlock, apparently. If not, then he still will appear. There's just too many slots, and he's such a big character. Expect him to show up in the MCU. All right. This has been Mr. Miracle Comics. That's Adam Warlock keys to collect. My name is Dave. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.